Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account from the RelationshipAdvice subreddit, and it says, I found out that my 27 male girlfriend, 23 female of 9 months is part of a mean girls type clique, and I'm reconsidering the relationship. I met this girl I call Katie at a school event about a year ago, and we really clicked and soon made things official. I understand that I saw things partly through rose-colored glasses, but I really like this girl to the point that I started thinking she might be the one. We just matched well on every level, have similar hobbies, but importantly, I thought she was a really good and kind person. Now, something happened that really made me reevaluate things. We were sitting in bed and she was texting and laughing about something. I glanced at the phone and saw the Tinder profile of a guy, which made me think, what the fuck? When she went to take a shower, I'm not super proud of this, I admit I snooped, given what I thought I saw, and checked her phone. When her phone opened up, it turns out that she wasn't on Tinder, but rather on a group chat with some friends, and the Tinder pic was a screenshot. Of course, that was a relief, but the rest of the context was just as bad in some ways. The group chat was basically a one-topic channel, where the theme was roasting the guys they hooked up with or were dating, and it was very explicit. Talking about specific guys, together with their pics and joking about their inadequacy in bed or even how ill-endowed they were. As far as I scrolled, I wasn't featured on there, but I saw Katie herself write really mean comments. Example about a guy her friend was with who got emotional during sex, basically calling him a pathetic loser. I was just shocked to read those comments, because it seemed so out of character for her. When she got back in the room, I fessed up to the snooping and confronted her. Surprisingly, she wasn't really mad, but she also wasn't remorseful in the least. She said the chat was with her closest friends and they've always talked about everything. I told her I thought it was really fucked up to talk this way about other people, especially since it wasn't just randos. I recognize a few mutual friends discussed on there in an explicit way, and I'm sure they didn't consent to that information being discussed. But again, she got really defensive, said those were her closest friends and what they talk about is their business. I asked her if she talked about us as well, and she refused to answer. The conversation kind of tapered off at that point since we both realized we were too emotional and not getting anywhere. But I still feel very uncomfortable with the situation. I'm afraid to be overreacting, but I am very seriously thinking about ending the relationship. I can't believe I'm dating someone who thinks it's okay to treat other people this way and join in the public humiliation of people who did nothing wrong. But I would like some outside perspective from others. If they've been in any kind of similar situation or if they think I'm blowing this out of proportion. That is absolutely rough. Imagine discovering that someone that you thought might be the one for you, that to then find out this information about that person. Because in my opinion, what you have discovered is concerning. She's participating herself in publicly humiliating people, including sharing intimate details without any consent about it. And when you did confront her about it, she showed zero remorse for that behavior. And then also her refusal to answer whether she discusses you the same way. It almost comes across as like an admission in itself, right? I don't think you're overreacting. It's not just girl talk. Because I think there's a massive difference between discussing relationships with friends, everyone does that, compared to what they're doing, creating this group, pictures of people's bodies and talking about intimate moments for them to ridicule. I know myself that I wouldn't be able to trust someone like that again, or respect someone at least the same way again after you found out that information, because how do you respect someone who treats others this way? And I think, 9 months in or something? You're still getting to know someone at this point, and sometimes you discover information like this. How many times have we seen it in the past? But a commenter says to OP, honestly, if this is something that ruins the attraction to her, leave her. You know what she's like when you're not around for the convos now. OP says in quoting that, yeah, it really does. It really changed how I see her. To be honest, it's just kind of a mindfuck because I can't really reconcile what I thought I knew about her and this behavior. It's not just her either. I also know some of her friends on that group chat, and I also thought before they seemed like nice, normal girls. The weird part is that she made it look like this kind of talk was so normal, like she was surprised that I was so put off by it. Now I wonder if it may be more common to people to vent like this private with friends, but I still find it hard to accept. Like if a guy friend told our friend group about a girl he hooked up with and started making fun of her private parts, I'd be super creeped out and think the guy is an asshole for violating the girl's privacy like that. Commodore says in quotes, I asked her if she talked about us as well, and she refused to answer, then says, she refused to answer, that means yes. I would press her on that, but that's me. Commodore says, I don't get why she doesn't just lie. A shitty person would just say no, right? Commodore replied to that saying, she may not want to trap herself in a lie. He told her he snooped. She doesn't know if he snooped far enough to perhaps find her in comments about him. So she maintains plausible deniability. He either knows and she can then admit when he knows his hand, or doesn't and she can avoid admitting it. Independent says, the second you break up, these girls are going to roast you. Lol. Be prepared. Reply to that says, preempt that shit. Put them all on blast. Hey, just so anyone knows, if you date June, Julie, Jesse, Jordan, or Jewel, you will all be publicly mocked and all your personal information shared with them and used against you. Specifically Kyle, Kevin, Kelly, and Corey have already been victims. Buyer, be aware. Front says, if her being a good person that doesn't talk shit about people behind their backs is important to you, then you should leave her. The thing is, if she doesn't see a problem with it, she's not going to change. And it's most definitely not going to stop there. It's going to be all your friends, your family. There's a chance she'll have enough respect to not say anything about you. But that's certainly not a guarantee. So would you really want to spend the rest of your life knowing that you could be going on with every person you introduce her to? So it was nearly 20 days after that post that OP did update and said, this all actually happened a few days after my original post, but things have been pretty hectic since then. But I wanted to write a quick update since I got some useful advice in the first thread. The best advice was to insist on seeing the chat one last time to see if she had written anything about me. She initially said no, because it also has private information about her friends, etc, etc. But I basically said if she doesn't let me see the text, it's over, and she reluctantly agreed, but told me to keep in mind that this was a year ago and how much we grew as a couple since then, blah blah blah. I scrolled to the period when we started dating, and yeah, sure enough, there I was in the text. It actually made me feel really weird reading other people talking about me. Right around the time we first slept together, someone asked her if I was better than some guy, apparently a former friend with benefits of hers. Without missing a beat, she fires back no. It was kind of disappointing because I was nervous and had some performance anxiety and actually went into detail about what we did. She knew I was feeling anxious since I hadn't been with anyone in a while after a bad breakup, and she was supporting in person. So it felt extra shitty that behind my back she was complaining about me. A friend of hers even mocked me, and she said nothing. Katie saw the look on my face and tried to tell me again that we grew so much and things became really good when we got comfortable with each other and connected. She even showed me a text where she said that to her friends, but honestly at that point I was already done. I asked her to move out, and after a bit of drama and nasty words, she moved her stuff to her mother's place. As others said, I've no doubt they're not talking shit about me together, but honestly I could not care less what those pieces of shit are chattering about. I just never want to see any of them ever again. Commodore says to OP in quoting, the best advice was to insist on seeing the chat one last time to see if she had written anything about me. And the Commodore says, I love the irony of how privacy became a concern when it was about her and her friends when they had no issue trampling over their partner's privacy with no shame. OP, as much as the situation sucks right now, it's a blessing that you found out sooner rather than later. In the long run, your life would be much better without having these vapid, toxic slurs around you. Commodore says, no silly, that would be infringing on my friend's privacy, and proceeds to describe every aspect of super intimate encounter with boyfriend without his consent. Oh right, privacy. And Dark Reflection says, 2 words for you man, bullet dodged. Sorry that you still got grazed by it though. It sucks, but the good thing is that you found out about who she really is now, instead of like 2, 3, 4+ years down the road. Take some time to heal first, above all else. And absolutely, those commenters were right that was a bullet dodged in that situation. It's just the complete lack of remorse. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit from Typical Attorney 8487. And it says, am I the arsehole here for asking my friend to pay the remaining balance of a loan I gave her after 17 months of waiting, while pointing out all the other stuff she wasted money on in that time. This just happened this last month, and while I have other friends and family backing me, what my friend said to me is eating at me. I keep thinking I'm the arsehole. So thinking maybe an outside point of view is what I need. Note throwaway accounts since they're on here, and I'm second guessing even asking. Real names have been changed. This is over a cruise that I fronted the cash for. Me, female 34, and my friend Kim, female 33, booked the cruise in August 2023. By April 2024, they finished paying off the initial cost, then wanted to add more, excursions, drink packages, etc. And the total of that came to just over $450. A few weeks before the cruise, Kim told me that they started the steps to go through bankruptcy and said I can easily cancel the trip since we had travel insurance and we can all get our money back. Their spouse, male 37, and Kim told me not to worry and to just book the additional things and keep the trip. Cruise was May 2024. Afterwards, Kim started explaining how hard their bills were and they couldn't afford anything. I understood since I've been there and she can just do payments of whatever they can afford. During the next 17 months, May 2024 to October 2025, they've only paid me 2 times of $50 each. She continued to complain they couldn't afford anything nor pay me back, even though she was buying and doing a lot. She bought over $300 of Lego sets, $100 of video games, spent over $1,000 at a Comic-Con, premium pass over $200, autographs of 3 celebrities over $400, photo ops with 2 celebrities over $400, plus artist alley purchases and food at the cons since she didn't want to bring her own. Went to a few NHL games, attended a few concerts, and a few other things. Note they paid for all of this and it wasn't gifts. Was with her when she did over half these purchases. So a few weeks ago, Kim posted she just got tickets again to a concert next summer. I was curious and went on and saw the cheapest tickets available were just over $300 each. She got tickets for her and her spouse. So I messaged Kim asking if she was able to pay me back, and she said they couldn't and was doing payments for the concert tickets. That's when I decided I had enough. I needed to get everything off my chest. I brought up to her that I had been offering payments as well and that she said she couldn't afford it. I went on to say I felt like she was taking advantage of me. Kim immediately blew up at me saying I was guilt tripping her. She went on to say if I wanted it that bad, she'd pay me off, but they won't be able to buy gas or food the next few months. When I tried explaining why I felt the way I did and that they had 3 incomes in their household, her husband and her father, when I had only mine, and pointed out a lot of the stuff she bought. I said I didn't like how she's gaslighting me. She immediately started saying I was toxic and delusional and that I valued money over friendship. In the end, I told her if they're hurting that bad, she can keep the money, and I blocked her on all social media, frustrated and needing a break. Seeing I blocked her, she blew up again and said I changed and I'm proving I don't care about people struggling and I'm in the wrong for only caring about money over our 20+ years of friendship. So now I'm questioning if I was really the arsehole or not. Side note, no, this wasn't just over the money either. I always felt awkward around her because of some of the sketchy and questionable things she's done. But the money was the final straw, I guess. My initial thought was, you're the arsehole to yourself when you turned around and said that she can keep the money. Because it's right. Everything that you've written out here sounds like she's taken advantage of your kindness here. It sounds like she's spent thousands of dollars of money when, she could be paying you back. If I was in her position, I'd want to pay my friend back as soon as possible. If I was in your position, I'd like to be paid back, but would understand at the same time that, people have their hobbies, etc., etc. But it sounds like she's taking the piss in this situation, which is just not on. And it may be a 20+ year friendship, but she's the one who's taken advantage of the situation. She's the one who's not being a true friend. Commenter says, OP, take her to small claims court. Get the money and end this toxic friendship. OP says, I don't have small claims court is worth the leftover 350-ish she owes me. Been told it could be a few $100s to take someone to court. Owen says, you just pay the filing fee. It is really simple to look up how much it costs for your county/city. OP says it seems to be a lot cheaper than I heard from others who did it. Definitely will be looking into this more. Thank you. Commodore says, not the arsehole, but I think you've learned a valuable lesson here. When you loan money, you need a contract. Even with friends, even with family. She is and has been taking advantage of you. So do not lend her money again, even if you reconcile the friendship. From here on out, be very careful lending money. OP says, thought I could trust her, especially since she had paid the initial portion of the trip back. But after 17 months, it got frustrating waiting for the last bit. So finally said something. Lucy says, when she said you had changed and didn't care enough about people, that is gaslighting because she wants to guilt you into letting it go. So she can continue to spend money on things she wants. You did change. You stopped being a patsy and set boundaries. And you did this because she was mowing you down. And actually you are showing more care for others by taking care of yourself emotionally. An emotionally healthy person finds more bandwidth towards helping others. Reflect on this, please. Going forward, vow to continue to have healthy boundaries in all your social interactions. When a person loses their shit because you've set a boundary and will not let them treat you badly, that's the tell. They value the money more than they value your friendship. In fact, they value it so much more that they are perfectly going to assault you, hate you, gaslight you, and dump you. She was projecting her own behavior onto you so hard. I'm sorry this happened to you. And if this answer seemed a bit bossy or arrogant, I don't mean it to be at all. I think you're a brave person. His life is going to continue to get better because you are no longer than a lot of people to make it worse. Maybe says, yeah, looking back on everything that's happened in our past, she was definitely using me in more ways than one. You're right, I did change, but for the better. I have a new backbone I never had before. So, at some point later, OP did come back in with her update and said, so this update came a lot faster than I thought. I do want to thank everyone who gave their suggestions to take my now ex-friend to small claims court, and of course end our friendship. Anyways, after multiple people saying I needed to take her to court, I decided to try once more to get my money back. I texted her and said I will take her to small claims court if I must, but it isn't right that she promised to pay me back and hasn't. Of course, she started in on the sob story saying she and her husband will starve and may lose the house if she pays me back. Then got mad when I told her she should just sell her concert tickets she just bought, or cancel a Disneyland trip I found out from a mutual friend they were planning. She didn't reply for a while, then ended up saying that unlike me, she's a true friend and at least doesn't let money corrupt her, make her an evil person like I became. But she sent the remaining balance via Venmo. So I got my money back, all $373 she owed left. I didn't reply, just wanting to be done with her. I got one more long text saying I shouldn't be gaslighting and berating her for wanting to do a childhood dream of hers, going to the concert, and that I even have spent money on things I wanted, so she should be able to as well. That her tip money is for fun and not billed, so I have no right in telling her how to spend her tip money. She's glad my true self is showing and that she needs supportive friends and not those who want her to suffer. After that text, I blocked her on everything. I was done. Thank you Reddit for helping me out with this situation. Some of the stuff she said to me is still making me feel like a bad person. But I will say once I completely blocked her, I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. And now that she has paid my money back, I'm going to spend it on something to help me de-stress. Lol. Absolutely. Spend that money on something that you would love to do, something that you enjoy. I mean, you need to do what you need to do, but I think, like for me, I would have kept her unblocked just to watch her rant like that because that would entertain the hell out of me. But occasionally I can be a little bit sassy, so who knows? Cat Butler says, given the behavior described in your original post, It's easy to see why she was at risk of bankruptcy. Good grief. Opie says, yeah, well, she went through with it. She was talking to a bankruptcy lawyer while we were on our cruise. They heard her tell him once, when talking on the phone to him, that she doesn't have good service because she's house sitting for a friend in a bad service area. Lying to a bankruptcy lawyer really got me second guessing a lot then, lol. But 17 months later, I'm glad to be able to cut ties officially. Kath says, you're better off. You don't lend money that you can't afford to lose, but it's good that you got it back. When I was first married, my ex lent his cousin $1,000. It wasn't really money that we could afford to lose, but he did it without my knowledge. We never got the money back, but this cousin had no problem traveling to Europe twice yearly once he became successful. My ex wouldn't ask for the money, and to this day, it hasn't been repaid. Glad this all worked out for you. Opie says, yeah, the initial cost of the cruise was covered with travel insurance, and I told her if it wasn't paid off by the deadline to get the money back if we cancelled, I would cancel it. So I'm sure that's why she paid off the initial balance. But this extra money I fronted for a few excursions and a beverage package for her didn't have a strict of a deadline. My parents even asked what would happen if she doesn't pay the extra back. I said I guess she wasn't my friend. But she paid the other back, so she should be good. So yeah, definitely no plans on loaning to friends again. Bear says, she said they were going to starve and lose the house, and the amount of money was $373. Opie says, yeah, and I even offered her payment plans too. Even said that she can do $10 a month if needed. But yeah, after 17 months and seeing her get those concert tickets, I kinda lost it and went off on her. Which is where the original post came in. But yeah, all this over 373. Commenter reply saying, lol, that excuse is brazenly stupid. Although to be fair, you can't eat or house yourself without a $373 loan from someone you're almost certainly going to be homeless in the near future. So it sort of tracks. Just think, you saved her from that fate 17 times already. Opie says, so does that mean I should consider myself a hero from saving her from that fate so many times, lol. Thank you so much for making me laugh. And one more commenter says, how much did she owe? You said she paid the remaining $373. I was thinking she owes you several thousand. Opie says, originally I fronted the money for the cruise and hotel the night before, over $2.5k. But when I said if I don't have it paid off by the deadline to cancel and get the money back, I would cancel our reservations. And she actually paid that off. And I fronted an additional $473 or so for drink package and a few excursions. She only paid $100 back in the first few months after the cruise. So it was like 14 months and had no additional payments towards the remaining balance. Bloody hell, Opie is best off out of that friendship. Absolutely, that is no friend, isn't it? I mean, the bar is literally on the floor in terms of friendships in that situation. Imagine treating a friend that way. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And also your hypes as well. I see a load of you in the comments hyping up these videos as well. I think it's just a mobile thing. I'm not sure if they've put that on desktop or laptops or whatever just yet. But thank you so much for doing you. Really, it means the world. And don't forget, there'll be a couple of playlists at the very end there that you can click on and automatically scroll through all those videos for you so you can crack on doing what you're doing. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.